We're excited to welcome to our program today Stephanie Bell. She is not only an award-winning producer, but also the creative producer behind Hatline Productions. You'll find out more about Hatline a little bit later, but we're going to talk to Stephanie not only about her journey of helping bring stories to life, but what it's been like for her to see the response to her work, as well as, of course, talk about a project that brought the two of us together. Stephanie, thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, you know, it's great to be able to be here in Los Angeles during our first visit, and when Robert Blake Whitehill, who we both know, the author of the Ben Blackshaw books, told me about, hey, you know, what about meeting up with Stephanie? I was so excited because you have been such an integral part of his journey with bringing Ben Blackshaw to viewers now, of course, as movies. I mean, we're definitely looking forward to that. But he's not the only one, Stephanie. You've been able to work with some amazing individuals. What does it feel like for you to not only do work that you love, but also to see the response that you're able to bring to not only those who actually see your projects, but also those who are responsible for kind of being behind the scenes?
It's a wonderful question, and I appreciate you asking that because producers a lot of the times are misunderstood in terms of what their job is. Mm-hmm. And I started off doing theater. I was an actress first and was asked to produce theater first. And I remember the first stage production I did, I was sitting in the audience and the director got up and did his little spiel and welcoming everyone, telling them where the exits were. And I just remember thinking, no one knows what I'm doing or who I am or really what I've done, but nothing of this would have happened if I hadn't been there.
Sure.
And it was the first time that I really appreciated what a producer does and how they bring together all the different elements of a process, the creative process, to bring it to life, whether it's theater, film, web series, web interviews. And it's a real thrill. You know, having been in front of an audience for many years, I wasn't sure how I'd feel about being behind the scenes, and there's a real freedom to that. And the fact that you have control over the process, I think for me, particularly as a female, that was very important, and one of the reasons why I decided to start producing. I was trained by the great director Mike Nichols. I was told by him, you know, create your work, don't wait for people to do it for you. I'd always plan on putting myself kind of in the work that I did, and then I really found that my background, I had done public relations, I thought about becoming an attorney, so I was a paralegal. So I had all these different things, and the acting, and they all seemed to mesh really, really well together as a producer. So it's really a thrill. I think I really understand now why producers win Best Picture, because they really do bring everything together. They're really so important and integral to the whole process from the beginning to the end. A lot of times you have the director that comes in, he does, you know, the creative process, and then he kind of leaves to go on to his next project. And it's the producer that gets the movie to distributors, it gets it out to the festivals. They're really the backbone of a production. So it's exciting to know that that's such an integral part of the creative process.
I'm so glad that you mentioned some of the other things that you've been involved in, Stephanie, because I think it helps our viewers to understand and appreciate, you know, how involved the process is. I think a lot of times people don't really get to know the whole side of it. We look at the finished product and we don't really think about all that it takes, all the little pieces of the machine that it takes to kind of bring it to life. Do you find that also has been one of the great things in working with writers, especially, to help them understand how it really is a dance between, you know, their words and then, of course, being able to bring together what actually will work on film?
It is. It's really, I really love that process. I love the development of the script, and I'm very, very actively involved in that element. You know, you've got producers that are financiers, you've got producers that are creative people that help kind of chaperone the project through, and that's one of the things that I really love to do. And it is important for writers to understand that you have a medium that you're working with, that you have to be writing for an audience. It's not like a novel where you're kind of writing for yourself.
Sure.
And it's a very visual. It's very visual and it's very action oriented. A lot of directors or a lot of writers tend to be very wordy in their scripts, and it's really much more of a visual medium, obviously.
Sure.
So I think that's a big challenge for writers, particularly people that adapt from books to screenplays. How do you take that and distill it down to the essence of the story? And so I really think that you have a very, very important responsibility also as a producer to honor the voice of the writer and to protect that voice as you go through the process of making the movie, so that, you know, when you have directors that come in and they want to change things, I think they always joke about the fact that writers are kind of second-class citizens of filmmaking versus television, which they're kind of the king. And so as a producer, as a creative producer for myself particularly, I really feel very it's very, very important to make sure that you keep that vision that the writer had when they created the story.
Right.
Because I was watching, and the Oscar goes to the other day, documentary on TCM, and George Clooney was being interviewed, and he said, without a great script, you have nothing. It's really hard to make a great movie without a great script.
Right.
And that has certainly been my experience as well.
Yeah. What a great reminder. And I think it's a great segue into how you and I connected, Stephanie, because I had an opportunity of interviewing an author, both of us know, Robert Blake Whitehill, about his Ben Blackshaw books. I was so excited when he announced, it was through social media that I initially found out, about those books coming to life. And now, of course, they have each one of the books with that label there, soon to be, a major motion picture. And to know that Hatline Production is responsible for that, how excited Robert is about this. I mean, what is it like for you to be a part of that excitement?
Well, I think we're both so thrilled. And when I first read that book, I literally called up Robert and said, I want to make this movie. And I didn't want him to talk to anybody else about doing it. I wanted to be the first one. Because it's so fun, it's so smart, it's so action-packed, and you've got great characters and incredible settings, and his whole series of the Ben Blackshaw is so wonderful because you've got such great characters. They're smart, they're funny, they're evil. You actually love the villains, which I think is unusual.
Yeah.
You love to hate them.
Sure.
And so I was very honored that actually Robert even gave me the option, gave Hatline the option, and the way that we actually met was my other feature film, Inverse. Robert actually, I met him through LinkedIn. We were at Haverford together, but we didn't know each other that well there. And I was doing reach out to do some fundraising, and he saw me and he reached out to me and he said, I've got this book, I think we might make a great movie. Would you be interested? And I was like, sure, because you're always looking for great material as a producer.
Sure.
And so I read it. I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this. And I reached out to my partners at Hatline, and they read it. And they're like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. And Robert has been an incredible collaborator. He's a great, he's an award-winning screenwriter himself.
Yeah.
So he made the adaptation for him. I think was relatively easy, and I think that we just had a fun process with him, just going through it. Again, Michael and Tamara, who are my partners, Michael Diploma and Tamara Teague. Both really are wonderful writers, and so they wanted to be very careful. They did not step on Robert's toes in terms of making sure that it was his voice that was, throughout the screenplay. And
Sure.
And we worked very hard to do that. And I think we really did. And again, it was easy with Robert because he's already adapted into screenplays.
I saw the video that Robert had put on Facebook when he was delivering the script. How excited he was. You could just see it. I mean, Robert's an excitable person anyway, but he was so excited about that moment. And I thought about when I was prepping for your segment today that, what that must mean for other people who you've worked with, to know that they're able to turn in something and to know that it's in good hands. What does it feel like to have that kind of trust that you've been able to develop?
Well, it's a big responsibility, and I am very respectful of that, and I take it very, very seriously. Because again, it's my job to make sure that vision of that writer and that director and the actors, everybody, is brought to the screen, is brought to an audience that can enjoy it. And so I think it's something that producers need to be very, very conscientious of, and I generally think really good producers are. And most producers, every producer I've ever worked with and that I've met, really understand that that's something that you really have to take care of. And one of the things that I love to do is I love to work with writer-directors, and that's a little bit of a delicate balance too, because a lot of the times the director will be their words are very precious. The screenplay is really very precious to them. So you have to be able to help them kind of throw the bathwater out without the baby, as it were. And but again, I think it is very important to respect that, to honor that, and it's your child. You're helping to make this, to have this project grow to something that hopefully will win awards and touch people and be a success.
Do you feel as like, Stephanie, as you look at your journey in life, that everything that you've done, even, when you're talking about, the other plans you could have had, being an attorney, or that all of those pieces have kind of come together to help you be the best that you are right now at Hatline?
That's such a great question. And, the funny thing is I am older. Just had a birthday, I won't tell you where it is. But I did struggle with that because I really did have a hard time kind of finding my career, and I had always been an actress and I'd love to act, but I had not really realize that it was something you could do for a living.
Sure.
And when my mother encouraged me at one point just to go for it, and I did, and then the whole world opened up to me, and I realized once I started doing the producing that every job that I've taken, everything that I've done has brought me to the place I am, and why I can say I really am a very strong producer. You're always learning, you're always coming up with difficulties, you're always making mistakes, you're always learning new things. But I do believe that people come to me and want to work with me because of the experience I have, because I'm not just one kind of a creative producer, but I do have the business and legal affairs background. I worked
Sure.
for film companies in the business and legal affairs department before, while I was temping, while I was trying to do the acting stuff, and then the public relations work I did, and my English literature background. So all of those things, I think, really helped me to get to where I am today as a producer, and I think one of the things I'm extremely excited about, particularly the Ben Blackshaw series, is, I've worked with a lot of smaller budgets, and this is a really big budget film. It really deserves a really big director that's used to explosions and action and
Sure.
Drama. And so I wouldn't have been able to be ready to do this kind of a project if I hadn't had some of the other projects and the other work that I've done.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of why each part of our journey kind of helps us prepare us for that next thing. And I think that's one of the great things our viewers can definitely realize, no matter what their profession might be. Again, everyone, Stephanie Bell of Hatline Productions has been with us today. Great conversation with you, Stephanie, and definitely great to finally be able to meet you. How can our viewers stay connected with you and keep up with the great projects coming up with you?
Well, our website is www.hatlineproductions.com. And is it okay if I just spell that out?
Sure.
So it's Hatline Productions with an S.com. And you can follow us through Robert's Twitter. We're actually getting all those things set up now. We haven't quite gotten there with those things. But,
Sure.
But the HatlineProductions.com is the best way to do that. And you can reach out to me at Stephanie@HatlineProductions.com or Michael at HatlineProductions.com and Tamara, which is TAMRA at HatlineProductions.com. So all three of us. And we are accepting submissions. Generally, we do have a reader that reviews those and gives us some feedback on it. We all read them ourselves as well. And we love working with creative people, and are very excited to be working with Robert.
All right, yeah, and I'm excited that Robert was able to get us together as well. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for the time. Really appreciate you dropping by Cyrus Webb Presents today.
Cyrus, it's been wonderful finally meeting you and talking to you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, the pleasure's definitely all mine. And for our viewers out there, thank you all for watching another edition of Cyrus Webb Presents.
Thank you.